Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews. Angry Andy Reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews. I have returned from my period of Christmas rest and dived straight in to Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther sequel. I have not watched it up until this point. Yes, I'm abundantly aware that it's pointless to review at this juncture because every man and his dog has already done it. But I have thoughts, and I'm going to get straight to the point. It was always going to be difficult moving on from the horrible, tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman. And in defense of this film, in some regards, they do a lot, to not compensate, it's not the right word, but to, respectfully mourn the loss. There are some pretty powerful moments in the early stages of the film that really sort of, lend something greater and more poignant, towards the loss of not just the character, but the real person that was Chadwick Boseman. And, it's difficult sort of, coming out of the film really with any negative thoughts with that in mind. But the problem with this film, I think, beyond that, is the very nature of Marvel. This film is both the best and worst of Marvel for me. Best in these moments of strong, powerful emotion, strong performances, especially from Angela Bassett. Absolutely fucking superb performance. Really, really sells grief and how grief can, not poison the mind, but make you do irrational things, come up with irrational thoughts and, close your doors away to the outside world. And we get a sense of that here. And even to a point with Letitia Wright. Say what you want about her. I think she is an able performer. Is the character of Shuri believable? Do you believe everything she goes through, everything that she becomes in this? I'm not entirely sure. I struggled with Shuri in this film. The jump from her in the previous film to this film, yes, of course, she's dealing with grief, but all the characters are dealing with grief, and all of them do sell their own individual struggles. But Shuri as a character overall just doesn't speak to me in the way that Chadwick Boseman spoke to me. His charisma, his effortless ability in what we saw as the character, especially in Civil War. His effortless ability to convey emotion without actually, being able to do, without doing an awful lot is something that I relish in a performer. I relish seeing what's going on behind the eyes. Do we get that with Shuri? I'm not entirely sure. But the worst of Marvel, so the other end of the spectrum for me, coming away from the powerful emotion and everything that this film has, the worst of Marvel is the oppressive nature of what is to come and them, possibly not having a real clear idea of where they want to go. The story is weak, it's inconsistent, it's full of, full of elements that I'm not really sure I cared about. And it's disappointing because I get the message, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand, grief, like we've said, drives behaviour, drives you wanting to do something, drives you closing off your doors, drives you doing irrational things, drives you to violence and acting out. I get that. We see both sides of the coin, especially with Namor, or Namor, or however we're pronouncing it these days. Again, he was okay. I'm not sure I was completely sold on the character again, but fundamentally the worst of Marvel is the the pressure to say this is connected to the wider universe, this is doing this, this is doing this. There was no need at all for Everett Ross to be in this film. Absolutely no need. You could have cut him out of this film and not missed him one single bit. And this, I can't even remember her name because I just don't care. This new character that's popping up with the blue streak in her hair, she's going to be leading the Thunderbolts. I could not give a rat's ass, to be quite honest, what is going on there. She's the leader of a CIA operative group, clandestine, doing all this kind of crazy stuff. I don't care. I really don't care. This film was the absolute opportunity to sort of let it sit in its own sort of existence. Let the powerful, mournful tone, really be the focal point of the film. But no, we cut to Everett Ross and this woman having needless discussions. We cut to him jogging in a forest to be distracted away using a little fly thing for no point at all. And Shuri just stood there in the forest. There's nobody in the forest. Why do you have to use a bug to distract him to get him to come to you? Just go to him and talk to him. Nobody else is there. Stupid, pointless, unnecessary elements, yet again, that the Marvel films, especially in Phase 4, have been guilty of doing. An overlong runtime for no reason as well. There were many points, especially in the middle third of the film, it's really quite heavy. And I'm not talking, like we've said, about the mourning and the dealing with emotion. It just drags in the middle for no real reason, and I'm struggling to think what actually happens in the middle beyond the typical action set pieces. Again, another weakness for me is the action. The CGI in places was rubbish, absolutely rubbish. I think the underwater kingdom looks really good. I think there were some elements in the water where it was a bit janky. I think there's just an element of possible cheapness coming in, and I'm not just talking about CGI. I'm talking about minuscule moments that completely take you out of the film. And there is one moment, and it happened right at the beginning of the film, completely took me out, and it happened again later on. The funeral scene at the beginning, the guards, they pick up the coffin, and I beg you to go back and watch this. They pick up the coffin that is supposed to house T'Challa. Again, it's supposed to be a very powerful moment, very poignant. They pick up the coffin like they're picking up shopping bags. There's no... it's literally, they lift it up. They lift it up, as easy as I'm lifting this box. Like that. There we go, let's go. It's a minuscule thing, but because I saw the just effortless lifting, I know these are supposed to be, super strong women and whatever, but come on. It looked like they were lifting an empty box. And it threw me completely. It completely took me out because it's fake. Yes, okay, it's a fucking movie, but focus on, just small moments. It just took me out completely. And again, it happened later on. Spoiler alert here. I know it's late into the review, and this is not a very good review. With Angela Bassett's funeral, again, you see them pick up the coffin. Very nice looking coffin. The engraving is spectacular. The design is flawless. But again, they pick it up. Like they're picking up an empty box, an empty suitcase on the way to Tenerife. Why? Show us lifting. It's such a simple thing. It's a powerful thing. Seeing people, lifting a coffin. Seeing people holding the weight of the person that's inside there. The person who's gone. It's no longer a part of this world, but... yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult thing to review a film that's already been out for a while. And, it's impossible to have avoided a lot of things that happen in the film. But, again, it's done nothing for me. It's done nothing for me beyond, you know, the incredible sort of mournful way the film works. Beyond that, I've got very little to say. I didn't enjoy it, and I'm struggling. I think I am experiencing my own personal fatigue when it comes to superhero movies, because they're just not speaking to me anymore. They're not saying anything to me. They're not reaching out. And I am trying to engage with these films. You know, I am a fan. I have been since the beginning. And it's just not happening. I don't know what to do. Thoughts on a postcard, please. But beyond that, it's a serviceable movie. It's a serviceable movie, and I think the fundamental issue is that it does lack the charisma. It lacks the charisma of, you know, the characters we had in the first film. You know, sadly we've lost one of them, and they killed off the villain in the first film, a very, you know, interesting villain. And this is the problem. Do we have to always kill off the villains? Can we utilize them? Oh, well, I guess we can, but then they'll become Emil Blonsky and She-Hulk, won't they? Just completely wasted and ruined. There you go. So yeah, disappointing for me. It's not an absolute terrible loss. It is fundamentally the best and worst of Marvel. When it's focusing on, you know, solid character moments, it works a dream. When it's not, and it becomes just messy CGI nonsense fighting and pointless derivative, you know, oh, this is what's coming next, oh, stay tuned, this character, we've got to put this character in because obviously this is going to happen next, only we're going to do what we always do and fucking change it 5 years down the line. It's hard to stay invested when you know that. I'd stay invested in the moment, that's what I'm trying to say. It's hard to stay invested in the moment when you're being, you know, shown advertisements for future stuff that you may or may not get depending on the results of other films. Yeah. Bit of a long review, this one, but there we go. I'm not entirely sure I really got across what I was trying to say, but I'm back! And we're going into the new year, flying into a full year of movies and reviews and, yes, chaos. Well, there you go. I'm going to end the review there, and I'm going to give Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's serviceable. It's not really memorable beyond, you know, honouring the memory of Chadwick Boseman. And I think fundamentally that's the issue with the film. We are missing Chadwick Boseman, and we will continue to miss him. What a damn shame. But there we go. I'm going to leave that review there. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this disappointing roundup of the film, then please do subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment. And let's see where we go in 2023 with the superhero conundrum. Bye-bye.